It's 2009. Wintertime. A man dressed in a dull gray coat was standing right outside the gates of the mansion he cleaned every day. He was not begging for anything. He was offering to buy it. Security didn't know who he was. The people who lived in the house didn't know who he was. But by the time you finish this video, you'll know exactly why the richest man in town picked that particular gate out of all the gates in town. Hang on, because what he did next won't be what you expect. 22 years ago, the man was called Kojo. He was 11 years old, and his father, Mr. Anku, had been working as a driver to the Botangs for close to 15 years. 15 years of early mornings, missed birthdays, and loyalty. But then one day, a gold watch went missing in the study. There was no investigation. There was no question. Mr. Botang just stepped outside the porch, in front of the whole household staff, and said the words that would stick around Kojo's family for the next 2 decades.
Get out of my house!
Get out of my house.
Leave this place right now!
Before I call the
I
police
will not tolerate
on the
your
thief.
insolence. Go now and never return.
The watch was discovered 3 days later. It had somehow slipped behind a desk drawer. No apology was ever offered. Kojo watched his father go from being a man who whistled while driving to one who didn't even talk during dinner anymore. They moved into a small room behind his aunt's shop. His mother now sold pepper and dried fish on the side of the road. Kojo, 11 years old, started selling ice water to passing vehicles after school, just to earn enough money to feed himself with rice. One day, an elderly woman who had been buying his water every day gave him something with his change. It was a piece of a newspaper. An advertisement for a scholarship exam at a technical school across the city. "You have hungry eyes," she told him. "These eyes are either going to destroy a man or make him. Choose which." He kept that piece of newspaper for 11 years. Kojo took the scholarship exam and got into the school. He learned logistics and supply chains by lamplight because the room he shared with 3 cousins had no reliable electricity. He started working as a stock clerk at a shipping company at 19, for peanuts. At 22, he noticed something not one of his superiors had ever thought to notice. More than half the trucks were coming back from their deliveries completely empty, driving costs with 0 profit. He suggested a solution to his manager. His manager ridiculed him out of the office, and then implemented the idea 2 months later, and took the full credit. Kojo didn't protest. He wrote the idea down, better this time, and sold it to a competitor for just enough money to set up his own company. A 1-truck delivery company. Just him and a van that was older than he was. Within 3 years, that one van became 40 trucks. Within 8 years, it became a logistics network spread across 4 countries. And Kojo made one decision that would prove to matter more than any other. He never used his own name for his company. He built it through a holding company that nobody could trace back to the boy who once sold ice water on the roadside. If you've ever been overlooked by someone who should have believed in you first, leave a comment below, because Kojo is about to meet that person. In his late 30s, Kei Anku, owner of a private holding company, had a monopoly on ports, warehouses, and freight contracts across the region. He was, beyond any doubt, a billionaire. But he lived without cameras. Nobody would interview him. There was no name on any of his buildings. His mother often wondered why a man with so much preferred to remain anonymous. "Because the last time our name was known," he would tell her, "our name was used to call us thieves." Let the money speak for itself. We will wait for the name. And then one day, his acquisitions team brought him a file. A failing hospitality group. So much debt, they were quietly searching for a buyer before the banks seized everything. Kojo almost handed it to a junior director without even reading the name. He read the name. Boateng Holdings. Kojo himself went to the meeting, something he hadn't done in 9 years. Mr. Boateng, now in his 70s, entered with the same stance he'd had on that porch 22 years ago. Only now his hands trembled slightly as he shook Kojo's. He had no idea who was standing in front of him. "Mr. Anku," he said, "thank you for your consideration. Times have been hard." Kojo let the silence hang a moment longer than was comfortable. "They usually are," he said. "For people who lose everything because of a mistake that wasn't theirs." Mr. Boateng's face changed slowly. First the eyes, then something in his shoulders. "Kojo?" he breathed. "Little Kojo." "Of the water buckets?" Everyone in that room expected Kojo to walk away and let the company die. Or to buy it just to tear it apart piece by piece. He knew the lure. He had dreamed of this moment 1,000 times. Instead, he signed the deal to save the company. With 3 conditions. No exceptions. Every employee's job was safe for 5 years. The staff would receive the same pension and full back pay owed under labor law that Boateng Holdings had silently avoided paying for a decade. And Mr. Boateng himself would have a role in the company. Not at the top, but on the ground floor, in operations, seeing firsthand what his own drivers had to contend with every single day. For the first time, Mr. Boateng understood. "You're not doing this to humiliate me." "No," said Kojo. "I am doing this so you finally understand what my father understood for 15 years working for you every day. That's not to humiliate. That's a debt paid at last. The right way." Kojo still didn't put his name on a building. But now, every driver in that company has full benefits, a pension, and a contract that cannot be ripped up over a rumor. His father, Mr. Anku, now 81, still carries that old newspaper clipping about the scholarship exam in his wallet. Not because he needs it, but because he never forgets who gave it to his son, and what she said. Hungry eyes either destroy a man or build him up. If this story resonated with you, you already know what to do. Hit subscribe, and let me know below, what would you have done if you were in Kojo's shoes? Would you have turned away? Or would you have made the same decision?